live and not live thing. Hi, everyone. This is Laurel with Laurel Bias Houses, and I'm here with attorney Ali Goff from Goff Legal, and we're going to be talking about trust administration today. So, hi, welcome, Ali.
Hello, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Cool. And just full disclosure, everybody, Ali and I are good friends, and we recommend her all the time. So, feel free to use her. I 100% recommend her, and I know her as a great human being.
Thank you.
Today we're talking about trust administration. So what do we mean by trust administration? What is trust administration?
Yeah, so essentially, when someone passes away and has a trust, we have to go through a process whereby we collect their assets, pay the creditors, pay the debts, and then distribute it to the beneficiaries or hold it in trust if that's what the trust says we're supposed to do. A lot of people have a misconception that because you have a trust, you're done. When you die, everything just magically goes somewhere, and that's not really the case. There is a process to go through. The good news is it's not as complicated or expensive as probate, but there is still a process that the trustee, the person in charge, has to go through.
Right. And, people miss that. Yeah, and it can be a problem, right? What are the important deadlines and things that people need to know about trust administration?
Yeah. So if you're the trustee, if you're the person who is nominated, or we call them the successor trustee, they have a couple big deadlines. One, they have to lodge the will in 30 days after somebody passes away in the county.
Now, what does that mean, lodge the will?
Like, lodge the will means they take the original will or mail it to the county court, not the recorder's office, the court, and give them the will, and they keep it, and they give you back a copy. But that is required. It's also $50. You got to pay them $50 to do that. But the requirement for that one is 30 days. Anyone else do it in 30 days? After that, for a trust, you've got 60 days to notify beneficiaries. So if you're the person in charge, you actually have to tell everyone who's listed in the documents and all the heirs, all the beneficiaries, here's a copy of the documents and here's in charge. We call that a notification by trustee. 90 days, you have to notify Department of Healthcare Services if the decedent was receiving any benefits. 120 days is our deadline for real property unless there's an entity, right? And then we have portability in case we have estate taxes. Like, there's a lot of sort of quick deadlines, and then there's a lot of sort of waiting. Wait 120 days for people to fight. Send out an accounting. Wait 180 days for people to approve it. But if you've never done this before, you probably don't know, oh, that's actually a quick timeline, and there's some things that legally need to be done. That's just a few, by the way. There's some more.
Yeah, there's more than that. And I got to tell you, I know a million people who've done none of those things in their trust, right? And it's okay unless there's a problem.
Unless and until, we have gotten a number of calls from beneficiaries that have said, hey, I haven't gotten anything. I don't even get a copy of the trust. I have no idea what the assets are. And we have to contact the trustee and go, you're actually doing a bad job. You're in breach of your fiduciary duty to do all these things. And either they go, oh my gosh, I had no idea, and hire a lawyer and fix it, or go, you're not going to make me. And then, of course, we run off to court and file things, and the lawyers make a bunch of money.
Right. So do you need an attorney to do this?
That's a really good question. It's not required. There's no law requiring that a trustee have an attorney to take them through the trust administration process. That being said, if they're not professionals, if they haven't done this a many times, if they're not sure about their job, which, by the way, if I held up the probate code, it's a pretty thick probate code. Unless you've memorized the probate code, you probably need a little bit of assistance. So that might be a consult with an attorney just to go, what are the things I have to do? I'll take care of those, and then check back in at the end. It could be, you know what, this is really complicated, or this is really contentious and my family members are starting to ask me a bunch of questions I can't answer. Will you please help me? And those of us who do trust administrations go, absolutely. We have a process for this. We have all the deadlines. We have the checklist. We have the forms. We know all the things, and we can get you usually through it a lot faster and with a lot less angry beneficiaries, right? That's the value of using an attorney, but you don't have to use one.
Absolutely. And again, you don't have to.
Nope.
But it's a lot harder to fix later.
Yeah, and there's a couple things that attorneys do, especially in my office. One, we deal with banks and institutions, title companies that ask for things that they aren't supposed to ask for or don't need, but the trustee doesn't know that, and they get stuck in this loop of filling out endless paperwork, and they get really tired and frustrated. rather than having, you only need one form. You go to the bank, you collect the asset, and you're done. How are they supposed to know that you need a small estate affidavit, but you had to wait 40 days and you had to fill out this form? I do. I went to law school and I do this for a living. But if you don't,
and you've got policies and procedures to follow.
and we have policies and procedures. Yeah. And so for sure, it's definitely, I think the process can be a lot easier. I don't know that people know this. When I meet with clients and I do their estate plan, because we do both sides, right? We plan their estates and we administer them. When I have clients who meet with them, they say, can you help my family member when I'm gone? Absolutely, I can. I'm not sure their kids know that that's their intention. I found an attorney that did my estate and they're here for questions. That's why we exist, right? To help the next in line, the succession, the people who are coming next. And so it's a really good idea if you're still alive to tell your family members, I got a trust. And I'm going to maybe encourage you to go talk with an attorney, even if it's just for an hour, to see if you might need some help, because your family members didn't nominate you as a trustee to make your life miserable. They trusted you, right? And they assumed you're going to find resources like a real estate agent, like someone who can sell a house, all of those sorts of things.
So let's say I was nominated as a trustee.
Mm-hmm.
What do I do now?
Couple things.
They pass away. I've got the trust documents. What do I do?
Yeah. So big picture, I think this might be the easiest way to answer that, because there is like a million little picture things. Actually, I have a trustee manual that goes through a lot of the things and the obligations and how to deal with various parties. But big picture, I have a couple phases. One, opening phase. Get your name on all the documents, notify all the beneficiaries and the heirs. Here's what's coming, right? Phase two, marshal and manage. You actually have to transfer all of the assets from the decedent's name, or the settlor's name, the person who created the trust, into your name as trustee of the trust. That's your job. Legally, you have to do that. You have to get a tax ID number and use that moving forward. So now we have two tax ID numbers, decedents and the trust. The trust will sort of operates like a business. I tell people it's like a business that only exists for about a year or two. That's generally the purpose of the trust. So marshal and manage, grab all the assets, transfer everything in your name, sell what you need to, pay any debts, pay any expenses, pay any taxes, right? All the things that are sort of loose ends. That's the next phase. After that, do an accounting. You have to tell your beneficiaries exactly what you've done with the money. Here's what I started with. Here's what I spent. Here's what I received. Here's what's left for you. They get to know all that information, make sure the taxes are paid, get everyone on board. And then finally, we have distribute and close, right? Distribute all the assets outright or into a trust if we have minor children or special needs beneficiaries, and then pay the final taxes, close up shop, bow, the end, trust tax ID number goes away.
So there are timelines and there's costs. And then now I know you have a manual that people can buy online, right?
Yeah, I do.
Tell us about that. For those silly people who don't want to get an attorney to do this for them.
Right. Not everybody wants to have an attorney. Not everybody thinks they might need an attorney, or someone might want to buy a document to support their trustee. Hey, read this before you go on to the job of being trustee, because there's a lot there. We call it the trustee manual. I think the front says like, help, I'm a trustee. Now what? It is a lot of really good information. It doesn't have documents. It doesn't have like, here's the letter you send, but it tells you what are your legal obligations, when to bring on an attorney, when do you need a CPA, when do you need to talk to like maybe a tax attorney, how do you deal with beneficiaries, what happens if the first spouse has died but the second one's alive and you're managing their assets while they're alive. So it has a lot of good information for a lot of different scenarios, and we only charge $350 for it, less than 1 hour of an attorney's time, because we want people to have that information. You should know, if you're a trustee, kind of what you're getting yourself into before you even say yes to the job. And then, of course, if that isn't enough, I can help. Any other attorney can help. There's no requirement that you work with a particular attorney, but it's a good idea to have that as like a basic resource in case they're like, let's start there.
Right. And I can just tell you out of my experience working with lots of people that you need an attorney who not only creates trust, but does trust administration. There are a lot of people out there who create trust, but won't help you administer it. That's one of the reasons why I always want to have somebody who got trust administration, also the one to create the trust. I mean,
it's nice because Yeah, if I created the trust, I actually know a lot about them. I know about their family. I know what their intentions were. I've got a list of assets. I know, like sort of gives us a head start. It's not a requirement, but it's a good place to start usually.
So if somebody wanted that trust manual, where is that?
That's at my website, gofflegal.com. There should be a tab that says resources. Click pay, get your money, have a nice time. And if you go, oh, yeah, that wasn't enough. Great, we're here to help, but it's not a requirement. It's just designed to be here's a resource. Or if you're like, you know what, I want to give this to my trustee before I'm gone so they can see what the job entails. So they have an idea of what their obligations are. That's a nice gift, right? That's a
cool.
Merry Christmas.
Is it a downloadable PDF or something like that?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We have a downloadable. It should be easy, right? It's supposed to be easy, accessible.
Absolutely. And that's what I love about you. You took the time to do that, to educate people and, make some great resources available. Is there anything else we should know about trust administration? Our time is almost gone, but do you have anything else you think we should know? Or if anybody out there has a comment they want to type in, they can. I got a couple people saying yay here. A good friend of mine, Michael Phillips, came on. He's a financial advisor, and he's saying that, you definitely want to get an attorney involved. This is not a DIY project.
It's hard to do a DIY, right? Our job, the thing is, like, we as attorneys didn't make these laws, but we help you get through them, right? There is a process, and that's why we're here to support. Just like we're professionals, we provide a service to make your life a little bit easier and to make the process go a little faster for all the beneficiaries. So my advice is, basically get advice, even if it's just in one meeting, even if it's the drafting attorney, go back to them and see if they'll talk to you for an hour and see, do you want the job and what you might need to be looking for? And you might go, oh, yeah, I think I'll take some help. Or I need this much help, not all of this help. Or you know what? Whoa, that's a lot of help. Please, let's do it, right?
Right. And the more complicated the estate, the more help you need. And, if there are what was you said, Medi-Cal issues?
Medi-Cal. Yep. Medi-Cal, special needs beneficiaries, continuing beneficiary trust, estate taxes, sometimes even sales of real estate can really, really make things complex if you're not prepared for the process and have all the documents in order.
Exactly. And especially if one of the trustees is still alive and you're now having to take over because that trustee can't. That is huge. You really want to make sure you're doing the right thing and doing the legal thing. So everyone, thanks so much. Give us a call. By the way, if you have a house as part of a trust or an inherited house of any kind that you need a cash buyer, I'm around to help with that. And Allie, you do conservatorships too, right? I heard.
I do. That's true.
So great attorney out in Roseville. We really recommend her and her team. Thanks for tuning in today. Thank you so much, everyone. We really appreciate you. Just give either of us a call if you got questions, gofflegal.com or laurelbuyshouses.com.
Thanks, Laurel.